Alright, y'all, welcome to team meeting. Hi everyone, you get Jackie. Morning, Jackie. I don't know that that's officially met, but.
Right, morning, Alan Thurman, how are you? Feel good.
I know your name, we've been near like around each other, emails go back. Alright. So. Referring back to our culture in action that we like to remind everybody of, we're looking at number 2, doing the right thing without wanting to be recognized or acknowledged for it. That's ironic that that's the one this week and I didn't pick it, because integrity is a big thing to me. And I like to constantly remind my kids that if I were to walk into the room and you need to stop what you're doing because you know you're about to get in trouble, you don't have integrity to uphold what is happening. And then number 17, follow the model. If you're reading the MREA, there's not a page in that book that I don't read and go, yeah, that's exactly what everybody should be doing. So let's follow the model. Let's understand that the model is there for a reason, that it's a proven track record that people should tap into, and you don't need to reinvent the wheel. Well, our birthday's coming up. What day is today? Okay. So we got Kathy Whipile on the 10th with Alan Douglas, then Christine Murray, Michael Bricky, and Sherman Sims this week. James Coleman. And we've got some more that we'll celebrate next week too. Lost your lives. Bucket bills. I'm told that we have to have 3 and they cannot be leadership. Yep. That's how we roll.
Meaning you can bucket fill leadership, but anytime, like if I were to give a bucket fill, it doesn't count towards the 3. So we need 3 me, Jackie, or Tristan, or Haley.
Can we bucket fill people that aren't even here?
Yeah.
Cause I talked to Joseph a couple of times this week and he's still so helpful.
Yeah.
Like, he's the best.
He's still made it, he's still around,
Yeah,
he's helping out Patrick Garvin.
Yes.
fantastic.
Speaking of, there's a listing in Winchester, Joseph posted it, 3 weeks out from closing, 2 weeks out from closing, something like that, the deal fell through. The homeowners are already, sounds like either already in Florida or already in the process of like on the road to Florida. With big plans, and we're planning on this house selling in 3 weeks. So if you have any buyers looking for anything in the Winchester area, please check out that listing that Patrick Garvin has so that they can get that closed. Patrick's still in the hospital, Joseph's still kind of running his business for him, so.
Any other bucket bills?
Sherry's not in here, I think she's in her office, but. Sherry is constantly an inspiration to me because. I will hear something and I think that's a good idea, I need to do that. She hears it, she does it,
Yeah.
and
see that.
that's amazing to me. And she's like slowly just piece, and she has talked me. And Christo. Into doing the loan officer thing. But, oh, okay. So, I mean, I admire her because of that, because, and she's always willing to try something new, if it doesn't work. She's done with this,
That's awesome.
you know, I'm like, beating it to death.
Tara threw me for a loop recently, and we're currently in the middle of DFI interviews. Because some people need to go finish college or something, I don't know. But she said, how much time would you take on a task with you struggling before you went and asked for help? And so I was like, wow, that should be a hard question, but it's really a hard question. And so I keep asking people that, and it's fun to watch people struggle through it. Yeah. Like you don't really know, like it depends, there's a lot of information, I don't necessarily have the time. Yeah.
But it depends on what I'm struggling with, if you or Tristan's in the office, you know.
Use your resources.
I'll try one time. Yeah.
And bring your computer down.
Exactly.
I'm stubborn, just don't want to admit I didn't know. So I'll go searching until I'm.
It's so hard, and then I'm like, I just need to bother Tristan. Tristan, you ready?
Yeah.
Tristan's gonna run through your sphere of influence and how you could be capitalizing on the people you already know who are in your database and what the, how you monetize that, so there's some math that you're gonna have to do, because if you're dealing with me and Tristan, we like math.
We've done this one before, well, I have to go though. Just gonna go through a couple quick numbers, the first one being the number of contacts, you can find it in your phone, if you open your contacts app, I think look at the bottom, will tell you that usually, or at least for iPhones. I will use mine, so. So I've got 1,150 contacts.
Have to scroll all the way to the bottom.
Yeah, usually. So that's gonna be box A. Fine.
You just have to just scroll through all of them. Oh.
There you go, oh, you got a lot.
See, this is the reason I hate to ask questions, because then I'm like, oh, that's stupid. I don't do that.
So you got that,
I got it.
so that goes in the top box, box A. And then we look at potential closing, so if you look on box B, it's gonna say A times funky percentage 0.648. What this is. So we know that homeowners right now. Average a move 1 every 8 years, or at least that was the stat 2 years ago, 1 out of every 8 years. And we know that 64%. Own a home. 64% of your database on average own a home. And that gives you the actual percentage, I said it wrong, 0.081. You combine these, that's where these come from, 0.081, so I'm gonna do my total number in my database. Times 0.081. Okay. Ready following that? I got 93.15, and I can't have 0.15 of a person, it's gonna be 94. Yes, get it? Good. Good, Steven? It's never. I want to go too quick. Oh, you're great, you go. The next one, we're gonna take 10% of our total contacts, because usually about 10% is a good referral conversion, so every 10 people, you can usually get a referral. So if I do 10% of 1,150, that's just 115, right? Okay. And then we're gonna add B and C together. $209, that's where I end up. And then it's also gonna ask us, that's number D. The letter D. And then E is our average commission rate, what are you guys seeing as average commission rate?
I keep saying 75. I go to
7,500?
yeah.
Yeah, that's
We'll do 75, well, yeah,
It's only
7,500.
Yeah.
So that's gonna be E. And then you'll just multiply those two together. 209, 7,500. I get a pretty big number. Fine. What'd you guys end up with?
Oh. 4,237,000.
You got a lot of people on post. So if I'm not wrong, so.
You did something with a little $4 million in there?
So keep in mind, we're taking into account all of the conversion rates, you know, the 1 every 8 years, only, you know, about 65.5% of your contacts being able to buy a home. And this is the math. So if there's more fallout, it's still really great, but it's just all in your phone, your personal speed. No one's on calling, all leads, hopefully. Unless your phone's full. Does that help? Say aye, all those. Good. It's perfect.
Alright,
Yep.
alright. Donna, are we ready?
Yep.
Donna's gonna run through shift tactic number 7, seller pricing strategies.
Okay. You. Okay. Shift tactic number 7, seller pricing strategy. Okay. Okay, so these are the main ideas for this strategy. Perspective on pricing strategies, you're gonna study your market, you're gonna approach sellers, get the right price, manage your listings in the buyer's market. I'm telling you, until you can do this one, get the right price, you're not gonna have confidence. And in order to have confidence, you gotta figure out all the scripts and all the things, places you can go to get all your information, so we're gonna talk about that. So perspective. When the market shifts toward a buyer's market, the listing sits. Don't let that happen to your sellers. In a buyer's market, real estate becomes a commodity. If we were just going on the market, it's going. So only properties in good condition and priced right will sell in the buyer's market. The price can correct bad condition, but condition won't correct a bad price. Cannot overprice. Correct pricing represents 80% of your marketing effort. It doesn't matter what you do, if it is not priced right, those buyers are out there looking. The buyers are the market, the buyers are the ones that are gonna tell you if you have priced right. So when the market shifts for the buyer's market, the listings just sit. Don't let that happen to your sellers. While there are always 3 factors to get a home sold, location, price, and condition, only 2 are under your control. And that is price correctly and stage effectively. So one of the truths on here is customers need you in a shifted market. And I was like, okay, I'm just gonna ask. Hey, I'm like, okay, are we in a buyer's market? And AI overview says, it appears the housing market in Lexington, Kentucky is currently shifting towards a buyer's market, though some areas may still favor sellers. This shift is indicated by factors like increased inventory, homes selling for closer to or below asking price, and a decrease in home selling above asking price, because we were having them put them on the market, they're gone. I mean, nothing mattered, just grab the house, and then all the multiple offers that we had. We're seeing less of that. The last 2 I put on the market, and I think it's because I priced right, I did have multiple offers. And they were in pretty good condition because I was lucky and had people that actually would listen. Sometimes they won't listen. Anyway, thought that was interesting.
I'm really proud of you for using AI, just like.
Girl. You're such an inspiration.
Oh, hey.
And that when the house is sold in a matter of days, the agents were undervalued. But the customers need you now. So they need you because they don't know, they may think they know, but you have to have pricing strategies. You gotta have market knowledge. Need you for your buyers. Fiduciary commitment, somebody who's looking out for them, their loyalties to them, knowledge of financial options and negotiation skills. So. So the question is, what are the opportunities for the agents and the opportunities for the sellers? And somewhere in here it talks about that. Um. You gotta be the local economist. So during a shifted market, the state of the real estate market is typically all over the news. So the sellers are likely to be more informed than in the past. And they think they know everything because this is what they're being told. So, however, they only have partial information. The headline knowledge they are trying to piece together into some sort of perspective. They may believe, number one, market conditions in their area are not as bad as the media says. Number two, they'll be able to sell their house despite market conditions because it's special in every way. And until it's proven wrong to them, they all think that. And number three, then they may believe that they'll never sell. So, the media's message is likely to be what the customers and other agents believe. Because all you have to do is look at some of the Facebook things and you can see that some of the agents even buy into the negative. We just cannot go negative. You've got to position yourself as the local economist. And that you're knowledgeable about your market. Doesn't matter what's happening out there in the world, matters what's happening here locally. What I need to do. Okay, did I get myself lost here?
You just click instead of use your clicker.
Oh, we put that up there, so I did that.
It's the screen.
Okay, very good. Thank you. Okay, you gotta study your market. Numbers and statistics have a certain magic. And they are magic when you actually understand them. And they're gonna help the sellers see the market and its real estate market and help you distance yourself from the problem. The reality of the market, the problem is not me because I'm an agent, it's the market. And sellers tend to look at what the market was doing and not what it is doing. If their neighbor sold for more money 2 months ago or even 2 years ago, that is the price they may expect to get. You're gonna need to use facts and figures to demonstrate that you have your finger on the pulse of the local market today. Now, some of them don't want to see, they'll tell you where to get some information that you may not know. But what, some people are not big numbers people, but still, when you lay the facts in front of people, they're self-discovering, they don't want to be told what to do. They want to discover for themselves. And there's nothing that'll give you greater market knowledge than a thorough analysis of the numbers provided by the local analysts. But if you know or you don't know. In the MLS, you can get a market somewhere. And you can customize it, it's in Flex. You can customize it right down to the. I had to do the thing I don't like to do, which is stop trying to figure it out myself and call somebody at the board and say, help me with this. It's a little confusing about the customizing part, but once you figure it out, it's pretty easy. So this is for Fayette County. And on here, it's got number of listings, listing prices for a year, went back a year. Absorption rate, sold to list, days on the market, price volume. And you can narrow down to a subdivision if you want to in this. And I'll just be honest, I didn't know I could customize it. And it's got summary statistics, pending listings, sold listings, all the numbers, active listings, new listings. These kind of things just make you look really smart. when you show up with this kind of information. And they believe it. Now, some people are like to be even have more statistics and dig down, but I don't think my experience is most people are like, when they see basic things, that's all they really care about. I actually had a client tell me the other day, I don't care about real estate, because I was trying to explain something. I don't care about real estate, I don't want to know about real estate, just go do your thing. Cause he didn't want to hear it all. He,
Must have not been an engineer.
oh no, he's not into this. Those people intimidate me. So, you can also go to Bluegrass Realtors. And bluegrassrealtors.com. And it didn't really make sense to me, but you can go to news and events. And you can get market data. The reason is they've got, on the market data, they've got news releases. One a month. They're behind, I will tell you, but months. Which aggravates me a little bit, you know, if you're gonna have the stuff, have it updated. So they've got housing reports. And infographics. Which just made it a little more. Really what it should have been, because to me it needs to be colorful, you can have pictures and things on. But anyway, so you can go in, and this is pages and pages, because of course we own the state now, we've got everybody's information. So you've got to work harder to get your information lots of times. So this was just page 1, and this is April 24 versus April 25. April's this first. And it says the median price range in 24 and 25, what the change is, the total souls, in 24, total souls 25, and then the change is down 10%. In Fayette County. So they do have Fayette County as the first one. But this is not customized.
Quick question, did you get a chance to, I know it's a couple months behind, did you? Like compare to see how accurate theirs is, or?
No.
Okay, I'm just curious to see, I might check that out.
What do you mean by that? Well,
Like if the numbers are right compared to what, if we look on the MLS.
well, it should be, because that should be where they're getting their information.
Yeah.
And they got it broken down into all those counties, and there were pages like that.
Yes.
But they did put Fayette County at the top.
But they don't have the graphs and all that stuff, you said.
No. But I will tell you that if you go to, there's some graphs, because people want to see graphs. Most people are visual. And if you go into Flex, and you do your search, whatever search you're doing. I did South Point. Then you just click statistics. And you print this. It's got listings by status. And it's got, and this is all for that one subdivision. Information. To me. Just the fact that this makes me look smart. I like. And. Hey. And. But the best way, of course, you got to do your, you just missed the important part that I did.
I've been listening on the phone.
Okay, let's see if there's anything. I'm gonna go on with what they are saying, but I just want to say. The main thing you have to do is you're really digging down into, like when I did South Point. You need to do, for instance, you know that subdivision, they've got older homes, they got newer homes, so I did put an age. But when I'm starting to do my searches, and most of you I think know this, I probably overdo it. Dustin's got a really good class. You come to Dustin's class. He's got a really good class. He overwhelms me sometimes. But But I just go in and search in subdivision, active pending sold, contingent coming soon. And they recommend expired, I sometimes do that, but in this market. I don't do that very much, and so you're gonna wanna have all that printed out, for them to see. But you're gonna, also print the competition. Because you can go in and print in a list. Everything in a certain area, you can do whatever areas you want, and you can, print your competition in your subdivision, and then you need to widen the area. Because people will be on one area. And, but you show those to the sellers, that's the last thing, you show them what their competition. Everything else sold, it's not bad, maybe something totally different. But I'll tell you something else I do. Go back to it. I think you're doing a disservice if you don't know what a estimate is on their problem. Because they probably do.
Oh, yeah.
So I go through everything, but I wanna know what these estimates are. So I do Zillow.com, Realtor.com, Redfin.com, Homes.com. And then I do an RPR. Through our floods. And I see those numbers. And it depends on what I show them. Because some of the numbers don't make sense, but most of them are getting pretty good at that. It's not the same as what we can do because we're so perfect with it. Okay. Alright. Alright. Stop just thinking that door's broke. People will become reasonable when they are faced with the numbers. Because they can't argue with the numbers. And honestly, when you walk in the door. If they're having you come to talk about selling their home. They're expecting that you know what you're doing. So if you go in, it's up to you not to fall on your face. But if you have data. To prove what you're telling them, they're gonna believe you. And you need to use the facts and figures to show them that you have your finger on the local market today. And MLS is the best thing we have, and a lot of us do not utilize the things we need to do. Okay, so you're gonna study those, you're gonna learn them. And I keep wanting to do that. You're gonna track your numbers MLS, shifting market, take shifting market into consideration. I don't think it matters what. Shifting or not. It is what it is, maybe not if you're going back a year, but if you're going back just a few months. That's what's happening now, what else can we use? Other than what's also on the market and what the competition is, because the sellers do not see. The buyers do not see, unless they've been looking for a while, what's going on. Get the big picture, buyers prioritize the deal rather than the area. Your sellers are competing with homes in their price range all over town. That's why I like printing that. And when you print that list, it has the picture. It's just one thing, but then it has the picture of the house on the side. It has square footage, so you can kind of go through and highlight square footage that's the most like it. But when they see, oh my gosh, these are all in my same price range and they're for sale, it makes them have a little bit bigger reality. We talked about it, I showed you. This is the activity index, which the board has already done for us in those. The market, market summary, in the market summary, so you don't have to do it. But if you wanna do it. You can do the absorption rate. Number of active homes on the market. Number of homes sold in the last 30 days, and that's your absorption rate for those last 30 days. I trust that the numbers of the board are the best numbers we're gonna get, so. You know, if you're a number person and you wanna do that. Many people respond with visual information. That's why I'm saying, you know what I said that about. I don't know why they weren't not colorful, the things that the board has. That are infographics. They were just. Gray. Blue, I mean, but not vivid. To me, I mean, that I respond to that, I don't know if you all do. I like.
Blame.
You should have seen my 4th of July earring song. That will really bling. Okay. This is just the sample graph. Alright, let me see what else, in a. Pass this out. So. Print it out, what you need to do. And then, and how you will do it, and this is kind of just to make sure you're covering everything. And average days on the market, new listing per week, total active listings, total pending properties, total closed, total expired. And it just has all the tips. So you're doing the right things you need to do when you're gathering your information. And I think we talked about most of that. And beware of the micro markets. Certain areas may be small sellers markets. In the midst of a larger buyer's market. So that's why you've got to be the local expert. And then there's a chart that's filling the numbers for your market. I would probably never use that, but I'm gonna put it in the file. It's like, okay, I just did, sure. Okay, approaching sellers. You gotta find the people that are motivated. You can only afford to work with the very motivated. When you're hungry, you chase rabbits. Chasing rabbits will wear you out and you won't make any money. You have to, and you're not doing them a favor. If you're not looking for their motivation and staying on top of it, so you're gonna pre-qualify your sellers before you make the listing appointment. So your job is to take on the role of a consultative professional. And you know, we don't give ourselves enough credit for that. Because we have so much more knowledge than the people walking around out here, the civilians. And we don't give ourselves enough credit. And I think we need to, because we need the confidence. That when we walk in the door, that we can consult them and we can help them, and they need us. Because without us, they're not gonna have all the information they need, and probably listen. And I think I've been doing this a long time, and sometimes I kind of forget that. Like, I do have knowledge, you know, and they talk to me like I'm so knowledgeable, and I'm like, oh, that ain't about it. So anyway, there's 2 things you need to do, and that's find the motivated and update your listing presentation. That's kind of an ongoing thing for me, changing things. And I don't like a lot of time. So I think you've got this on what to do, pre-qualify your sellers. You're gonna ask these questions. When you sell this home, where are you going next? How soon do you need to be there? Why are you moving? Have you thought of selling yourself? I don't really like asking that question, but I guess we need to at least know where their thinking is. What do you expect a real estate agent to do to get your property sold? What do you owe on your property? We need to know that. I like using that mortgage information sheet that the board has. And when they. So, does anybody use that anymore? I think it needs to be in our package to come over. Because. An attorney will, because they put their mortgage numbers, how much they think they owe. On the property, their last 4 digits of their social security number. And then they signed it, and so most of the attorneys will accept that. In place of the thing that they send to get permission. To pull the payoff. So I like using it. And it helps me know. This is what. The last time somebody ended up saying, I'll do it. Found out that they were not telling me the truth about what they owed on their property. And that we were getting close to it. So you need to know the answer to that, and if they put it in writing, we're more likely to tell you the truth. She was off by about $100,000. Oh, what do you want to list your home for? If you're not sure, just give me a price range. I used to be of the mind that they're not gonna answer that, because a couple times people say, well, that's what you're here for, or that's what I'm having you over for, because they don't want to say it. But I will tell you, if you ask it 2 or 3 different ways, most of the time you'll get an answer. Of what they actually are thinking, and they're more on top of what's going on around them lots of times than you are, because you haven't dug down into it yet. And then you want to ask, what are your plans if your home doesn't sell? This is their motivation. Are they just gonna shrug their shoulders and say, oh, we're just gonna try it, we're just gonna thank you? Or they're gonna say, oh, I don't know what in the world, I don't know, and really thought that much about it. Okay, so, so you're gonna update your listing presentation, and I don't quite understand that your to-do list is number 1, tell the truth. Number 2, leverage the media. So you're gonna want to. Oh my gosh. If you use one of the releases that's in the board and those facts. But you can pull up things that you want to emphasize. That's in the media if you want to. I have never done that. But I can see in times of misinformation, I guess, that, what the media is saying, oh, the sky's falling and all that. You're gonna have statistics and facts. But if you have other media things that say something different, that you could use that. And then you're gonna listen for the responsiveness. You gotta learn new scripts and dialogues. And as long as I've been around, I'm a big believer in scripts and dialogue. Do I practice them? No, I wait for them to soak into my brain and fall out of my mouth. And the only way that happens is if they're the classes that I'm hearing over and over and over again. And you may not be a believer in scripts. You think it sounds funny. They've never heard it. And they're not gonna see it as a script. They're just gonna be listening to what your opinion is. But I remember when we were in the other building and with a bold thing, it was an old bold script, and it was the listing presentation from beginning to end. And another girl and I decided we're going to do this. And we started with the scripts and we said, that just doesn't sound like me. And they were like, nope, we're gonna do it, we're gonna say it exactly like this is said. And I'm telling you, by the time we got through the whole thing and understanding, these are the reasons they said this up here. Because it addressed this back here and it's gonna address their concerns. I need to find that. And I have to have it because through all my bold stuff, it was some of the beginning bold stuff. It was the best listing presentation I have ever heard. And Diana Kokoska did a video thing. We need to get our hands on that, cause it's out there, it's gotta be out there, and make it a little more available.
Yeah, Jeff Glover has a listing presentation, like a mock listing presentation online. And he's also got a 5-step listing presentation playbook in the playbook library. And so that mock thing kind of mirrors that playbook that he's got.
Yeah.
So that one's available. I can post that one in the Facebook group. I'll see if I can get
Okay.
my hand.
To me, it was just with Diana's. It was all encompassing. Took a little bit. But if I knew that from front to back, I would be hard to stop. And it's crazy that you don't internalize it. Okay. Get off on my own stuff, sorry.
But it goes back to what I said. Follow the script, follow the rules, understand that somebody else has already gone before
And you don't have to redo it.
Yeah,
And I do like Jeff Glover. But he's pushing what, he's great, I love him, he's great. But no one's pushing his certain things, because he's planning to make money.
And I wouldn't necessarily saying like Jeff Glover is like the end all be all, but if you can watch other people do listing
Yes.
presentations, you'll find what you like and what works for you. It's like the exactly what to say. You're not supposed to know the entire book and use the entire book of exactly what to say. You're
Yeah.
supposed to pick the ones that work for you, the 2 or 3 that work for you, that roll off your tongue in the right, that feel good when they come out of your mouth, and use those.
Yeah,
So find listing presentations that you can watch, that people who know what they're doing have done, and find what works for you and use that.
and a lot of these people that are really, really successful are doing the exact same things they've been doing for years. They're using the same words.
Yeah.
Whether they even realize it or not.
sometimes we get caught up in, I have to find a new creative way to do something.
Yeah.
Well, when you tell them at 123 Main Street, they don't know that you had the same conversation at 234 Main Street over here.
Exactly. Exactly. Okay, don't be afraid to be honest. Don't make the market, you don't make the market, you just interpret. Don't shoot the messenger. If you are not an advocate for correct pricing now, in 6 months' time, you will hear your sellers ask you, why haven't you sold my property? Because they think you are the end all and supposed to get it done. Because they don't understand that system, but if you don't price it right, it's gonna be sitting there. And yes, he signs, but he's sitting in the yard. So care enough about them to be strong up front and get the right price. They'll lose money, not make money. If they insist on a higher price. Monthly payments will add up while prices for comparable properties around them get lower by the month. And Diana Kokoska says, I think I pronounced it, if I don't tell my sellers the truth, it's like I'm taking money from their bank accounts. This talks about leveraging the media, putting out articles. If your sellers are listening to this stuff. Some sellers may not be able to face the reality, won't be able to list their home at the price needed to sell. That's what I won't play. So anyway, to tip. Here is where you can leverage your position as the local economist, because sellers can be unnerved by the news they hear in the press. They want an agent who knows their market and has the latest facts and figures at their fingertip. Knowledge is power. Talk about that big power. And for instance, the headlines may state that the local market is down 12%. However, in your seller's neighborhood, it's down 20%. And if you don't have the numbers to demonstrate that during the listing presentation, you're gonna lose that listing. And then you're gonna listen for responsiveness. Some sellers just may not be able to face the reality. Your pre-qualification should have helped you determine the readiness for the meeting. But be on the lookout for these signals of reluctance during your presentation. Number one, do your sellers want to chat on the couch in the living room rather than sit at the kitchen table and look at the numbers? No, don't sit on the couch with them. Can't do that. Because then you're like you're chatting. You're like their buddy. You've got to be in control. And the only way to be in control and have them see all the information that you've got is to sit at that table. And I know I went to this woman's house and she had so much stuff stacked on her table, she wanted us to sit in the living room. I did such a bad job. I did not get that listing. She would have gotten this. And I did not get that listing, and it's because I did not take control of that situation. I let her take control. Are they reluctant to disclose information about their mortgage or financial situation? And are they oblivious to your data? We talked about learning new scripts about updating your listing presentation and practice. Focus more on your seller's need to express themselves. Keep them talking and listen to what they tell you. They want to express themselves because everybody wants to see themselves as important. So you're going to focus more on your seller's need to express themselves in a frustrating and emotional time for them. Let them have their say. Keep them talking and listen to what they tell you. I talk a lot. I have to keep reminding myself. Remember, if you have said more than 3 sentences in a row without asking a question, you're talking too much. I need to write that down, like that goes with my listening presentation every time. If you have said more than 3 sentences in a row without asking a question, you are talking too much. And we feel like we gotta talk and tell, talk and tell, talk and tell to impress them, when listening to them is gonna mean more to them. And I mean, they have to see that we've got the skill, we have to trust you before anything else. Okay. You know, you really need to head them off in the past as far as objections. So, do you have objections in your paperwork? Copy. And if you hit those things first and you just get them off the table, instead of biting your nails and hoping they don't have an objection, that's what I liked about Diana's. In front to back, you realize, oh, he starts giving objections, and so, you know, as we talk about blah blah blah. I like that person. This says send out a thorough CMA in your pre-listing package. I never do that. You're gonna send them a CMA to look at when you're not there to go over it. I don't know, I can't. You're not agreeing with that either. No. So I don't know, I don't know what, I'd like to know what the thinking is behind that. Because the reality is, they could look at it and just cancel the appointment with you. So to me, you need to be sitting, I mean, a pre-listing package, yes, the CMA, yeah. I don't know. Person, I'm not, they're smarter than I am, so. Okay. You gotta get the right price. But this, I like this script about. Room to negotiate. Many people who tell me they agree with my CMA. This is Bruce Hardy saying this. Many people who tell me they agree with my CMA will still want to price their house higher so that they have some room to negotiate. How many times have you heard that? Because they want some room to negotiate so they can come down. I need to share with you that there are two problems with that strategy. One, the people who can afford your house won't look at it because it is outside of their price range. Two, the people who do see it are comparing it to others that are worth more. As a consequence, you won't get any offer. That's pretty big. And then I think you have other pricing objections. Let's just try blank and see what happens. Two other agents told me they have no problem selling it at my price. My neighbors down the street just sold their house to whatever, so you've got those. So, you gotta get the right price. So now that you know you're working with motivated sellers, you've got to price the home to sell. With a well-priced listing, they'll have the best chance of getting the highest price the market will accept right now. So Gary Gentry says the best price that we can wring out of the market right now is a tremendous service we can offer to our sellers. Because the market changes every day. Stuff happens. So you've got to allow them to self-discover. Adults do not want to be told what to do. We all know that's true. In fact, psychological studies suggest adults will actually become resistant to change if they perceive they're being told what to do. Your sellers will be much more likely to accept the correct price if they have discovered it for themselves rather than you just telling them. You can have all the facts. You can accomplish this by simply asking questions throughout your listing presentation. For instance, looking at all the comparables here in the MLS, you've got the table. For your neighborhood, how much would you be willing to pay for your house if you were a buyer today? Makes them stop and think about it. Given what I've shown you about the market, what do you think your house will sell for? But you don't ask that until you've shown them all the information. But it's them not being told, but making a decision themselves. Look, what do you think we need to do? Here are the numbers. Don't miss the window of opportunity. The original price is critical. If a buyer believes a house is poorly priced, they will write it off from the start. Even if the price is subsequently reduced several times while home improvements are made, the best chance for selling is lost forever. And that sits heavy on my shoulders when that happens. When I should have pushed a little more or whatever, that I somehow let them give it a little bit of a try. Probably cost them money. For homes that have a price reduction, the time to sell increases by 2 or 3 times. Because you all know that's one of the questions people ask. How is it on the market? And when it very first comes on the market, if there's a couple people interested in it, everybody's like, oh, I jump right on. Then if something happens that doesn't sell, everybody cools. Because I think it's human nature to want, it's reinforcement I must be making a good decision, other people are making that decision. But if nobody else was making an offer, why aren't they making an offer? So am I making a mistake by even thinking about this now? I think that's just human. Don't you? We talked about allowing them to self-discover. And getting the right price, these are just, my brain has a hard time with these kind of things for some reason. And it's so simple, but it's like, okay, get the right price. This is in the market, this is out of the market, so if it's. These are price comparables, so price versus comparables, so. Great price. Versus poor comparables. Ends up putting you out of the market. And then. Price versus cost. So. Great. In your pricing and poor in your pricing. Puts you out of the market even faster. And then. Two markets, no man's land. So then this is condition versus cost. Great condition. Poor condition. You see how fast that poor condition takes you. In the market, no man's land, out of the market. I thought this was interesting. Right? Hickox, the top agent in Franklin, Massachusetts, explains what has really happened is a tale of two markets. It is the old 80-20 rule. You know, everything in life seems to go back to the 80-20 rule. And of the listings out there, 80% are now grossly overpriced, and all the buyers know it. The flip side of that is that 20% of the agents are compelling enough with the factual data to convince their sellers, are compelling enough with the factual data to convince their sellers to price the property appropriately. 80% of those grossly overpriced listings are competing against one another and languishing on the market for a year or more. Now, we haven't seen that for a long time. I mean, truthfully, an average market used to be like 6 months. And we haven't seen that for a long time. Our days on the market seem to be getting bigger, well, a little longer, seeing some price reduction, so things are changing. But as within the market things we're talking about, if it's priced right and it's in good condition, that's why we're so important. And our statistics are so important. We've got to get it priced right. And then buyers are competing for the 20% of the properties that are accurately and attractively priced. And when this strategy is used, these well-priced properties are seeing multiple offers. Well, it seems to me it doesn't matter if the buyer's market, seller's market, or any kind of market. The whole answer to all of it is pricing the house right. And to me, it's the hardest thing. I drive myself crazy because I don't want to leave money on the table. I want to make sure I'm doing what I do for my sellers that I love, and I want to be there to help them, give them the right. So I totally overthink, and I know I did. I totally oversearch everything, and then I narrow down. They don't see all that. They don't see all my anguish over trying to make sure I priced it right. But to me, it's the hardest thing for me. Marketing remarks used to be hard for me, but hey, not anymore. Chat GPT. It's like, oh man, this is making my life so much easier. And I look so much smarter. I like it. Okay. We've already talked about sellers market and buyers and conditions. And one of the things I kind of like this guy, it's like, what do you tell your sellers? Andy Allen and Nathan from Austin, Texas makes good use of the word ahead. I know that people like to be ahead. No one wants to be behind. So rather than telling my sellers they need to lower their price, I suggest that they get ahead of the downward momentum because they're currently behind the curve. Well, that was pretty good. And there's a graph that just talks about how the effective time they have on pricing. The longer property sits on the market, the less you're gonna get for it. Because people have that, what has to be sold. Why am I looking at it? Why am I interested in it?
You ever use the word competition in your
Yeah,
presentations, because I've had really good luck with that.
it's saying that they're no longer. It is all of a sudden you are a product. And you have competition, so you have to make your product look better than the competition. And that's why I want them, I like to bring them in here. Drive me crazy.
Well, then like on the house, it's like, I've got one right now that the condition is not good. But I tell them that we're competing against, with all these other houses, their photos are gonna be out there on the market. To the market also. And we're competing,
Walk through those doors.
we're competing with those other listings. Cause I don't always get that right away, but they're
No, because they think they have such a special.
all around their house.
That everybody is just gonna flock.
Yeah.
Come to look at your house, so I mean, you have to make them feel like their home's special. But they have to have the reality. That they are in competition. And that buyers are walking through door, I like to say buyers are walking through door after door after door after door. And then making a decision. Because that, and I got that from the script. Years ago, and it's like. It makes them, especially that you say it so many times. Buyers are walking through door, door. That's all they're thinking about is the buyers are gonna come look at my house and they're gonna love it, it's special, and I'm gonna hold out for the best price. That's what they're thinking. And so you can't really say, well, that's stupid. You know, it's helping them so stuff. Okay. Manage your listings in a buyer's market. What time is it?
7:11.
Is that right? Okay, so I'm gonna wrap it up, and I think we went over the very most important things. Let me see if there's anything in here that I feel like that. And what's other things, I think you got in there. Talking about price reductions, you all know, 10 showings with no offers equals the price reduction. 2 to 3 weeks with no showing, price reduction. 5%. If you're listing, has 10 to 12 showings without an offer. Then you need, it's 5% of the price, if it's not getting even that, it's 10%. Then it talks about coming soon, we don't know all that. And I gave you all the spreads, so I think most of it. Hey, all right. Any questions? Maybe I can answer this. I just want to say a couple of things that I like to, when I go to some of the things like there's and all that, I like to use this bold book. I don't like to waste it on stuff. I like to use it for things that people say that I want to write down, like, I need to fall back in love with what I do. When somebody said that in one of the meetings, I'm like, this is true, I need to fall back in love with it. Because I do love something. And nothing is over until you quit.
Thank you, Donna.
Thank you.
Donna. We're gonna run through some announcements real quick. We have our training calendar, should we have a copy on our website or in the office, Lexi has some printed at least. If ALC financial committee meeting at 11, y'all will stick around. ALC culture meeting at 12, warranty wins. Please come back at 1 o'clock for your time with Emily, because we need to better understand what the process is for you to be making that an income stream for you. There's been some struggle through that recently, and I've talked to multiple agents about it, so don't leave money on the table with your deals. And then, we have MREA series every Wednesday, on your schedule, and rookie mastermind. And if you want a real treat, I am school cloud on Monday, so I'm gonna come hang out with me on Monday.
What class is that?
I get paid.
Rookie.
Starting August 1st, in August, we're gonna have our team meetings at 11 o'clock. Even at 11, we heard from people that we want the meetings a little later, people need more time in the mornings, and it matches up with lead generation that everybody should be doing between 9 and 11. So now we'll do our meetings at 11 going forward. We're gonna have lots of fun giveaways and try to get engagement, participation, and
How's getting lunch?
on Steven.
Maybe not.
That is everything.
Well, if there's anywhere that anyone knows, any places they think would sponsor a team meeting, maybe
We're happy to take.
Lawrence places, other potential affiliates.
Place on the other side of the park, to get the word out.
Yeah, just let me know, give them either the office phone number or give them, or give their number and give it to me and I will give them a call. But yeah, anything, any places you guys know, help us get some more lunch, some more food.
Yes.
Nope.
Thanks everyone. Thanks for being here.
Thank you all.
Hey, Donna,
Yeah.
I can make that
Jack.
play.
I know that my status
Stuff,
on all this stuff is in limbo. I don't know where I stand. I heard the call yesterday and I was like, you know, like.
So the expectation is that everybody gets 411.
Everybody, like,
Everybody.
everybody is, okay. Well, yes, Asian, I have something that I
Yeah.
have,
So
but.
there's two programs like out there that I've seen.
You nervous when you come to that door and you stand there, I lost my whole stupid train